Hello there, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Purple Breakdown. I am your host, Alex. I'm so excited to be back here on another episode with you. It is an amazing Tuesday. I hope your weeks are all going great, and yeah, you're having a great time so far. We're almost to the middle of the week, one day until Wednesday. It's just over that hump and following the rest over into the weekend. I want to thank you all so much for stopping by and joining in, and I hope you find the episode enjoyable, learn something, and interact with it. And I just want to remind you that, again, if you do enjoy the content you're listening to and everything that goes along with it, please consider subscribing, liking, and commenting. We are at 79 subscribers right now, so thank you to all who are subscribed and helping the podcast grow. I'm so thankful to all of you, and I'm so thankful for the community that we do have. And if you want your comments featured in the video, make sure to comment. We always start with that first segment where we go through the comments that everyone has left over the past one, as well as just it makes my day. I read every single comment that you guys post, and it makes me smile and it makes me laugh and be happy because I want to talk Ravens. One of the ways to talk Ravens is when you guys comment. So just want to get that out there. Thank you all so much for stopping by and joining in. Let's dive into it. Now, normally we do start with the comments that people have left, but no one left comments on the past videos or the shorts or the long form. So we have no comments to jump into today. So instead, we're going to jump into the juicy stuff right off the bat. So let's go dive into it. All right. I want to start off first with yesterday we went into and talked a little bit about how Dexter Lawrence was refusing to go to the Giants offseason workouts and has requested a trade. And I said that the Ravens must at least show interest in it, and it probably won't happen. I think I'm still going to stand by that, and I want to expand a little on that because, one, look at Dexter Lawrence. He's been a Pro Bowler. He's one of the better defensive tackles in the league, and to bring him in, I said if they could get him for a second-round pick, that would be a steal, and the Ravens should do that, and I still stand by that, but it's not going to be a second-round pick. At the very least, it's going to have to be one first-round pick, and you're getting a first-round pick out of Dexter Lawrence. I mean, he is one of the best defensive tackles in the league as it stands right now. Yes, he battled through possibly some injuries this past year and had a little bit of regression, but if it was injury related, he can come back from that and further, and you'd be securing the spot. Even if Matt BK can't come back, they're securing that spot up, and that sounds great. My only problem with this is, one, the contract space that the Ravens have this year as well as next year, because Lamar Jackson's contract expands further next year, and he's going to be owed $84 million in a cap hit space at the very least if the Ravens don't get a contract extension going. And on top of that, this next year's draft is supposed to be one of the better draft classes coming out in a while next year. And I could very well see the Giants not only asking for one first-round pick out of Dexter Lawrence, getting one first-round pick, but two, and getting another one next year. And I just don't think the Ravens are willing to do that anymore, especially with what went down with Max Crosby and possibility of injuries. I don't think the Ravens are willing to part with that. And looking at how the organization wants to go forward in the future, I think that they're just going to operate with keeping their first-round picks, especially this year and next year. And so that's why I don't think Dexter Lawrence is going to get brought in as much. But I do think that the Ravens need to show interest. They need to make a gambit at it. If you can give up a first-round pick, I don't think I'd be too upset with them giving up a first-round pick this year to bring in Dexter Lawrence, especially what he can do for the defensive line and keep that defensive line very strong. However, I think the Ravens are going to hold it like gold. They're going to look at Lamar Jackson's contract, that needs to be done, and if they can't get that done, you'd have to be letting people go next year, and possibly Dexter Lawrence and others like that, just to make room, and as well as how many picks that they're going to have to give up for it. And I think they're going to be conservative with them from here on out. That's how they're going to operate and move. And I mean, they just brought in Trey Anderson and took a big swing at that, and DeCosta's already said don't expect any more blockbuster stuff, and so that's why I'm leaning towards they're probably not going to go Dexter Lawrence, and if anything that they're going to bring in, it's going to be DJ Reader, it's going to be Calais Campbell, it's going to be somebody who is more of a budget, because that's what I feel like the Ravens are leaning towards right now, is they're trying to save a little more money right now, and that they're trying to lean more towards a budget for these remaining just filling in spots. So I just want to expand on that real quick and talk a little bit further out by that. Now, I want to jump into, and I want to stay on the defensive side of the ball, and first talk about what has come out with Minter, and he has recently said that he is expecting Mike Green to take a step forward this next year at the edge. And we all watched him. He was drafted in the second round by the Ravens this past year. I know there was some controversy around him. Sorry, I keep wiping my nose. Kids at school got me a little sick again. But he has some controversy around him from the draft this past year and where he got drafted. But he ended up on the Ravens. He had an okay year with 20 hurry-ups, 4 sacks, 10 quarterback hits. He had 26 solo tackles, 9 assists, no forced fumbles. His PFF grade, he was better at the pass rush at a 55 and worse at the run defense at a 47.1 for 46.3 overall. And Minter is expecting him to take a step forward this next year and become a better player all around. I mean, Minter said in an interview straight up that he says, I have a lot of confidence in Mike Green. I loved him coming out of the draft. He had a top 30 visit to the Chargers, and Minter just feels like it's destiny that he's ending up back with Mike Green anyways. And when looking at what Minter can do for a defense, and you look at what he did with the Chargers defense, I think it's pointing towards the upside for Mike Green and him taking a step forward. He's going to get mentorship from Trey Hendrickson. He's going to get mentorship from Minter and the know-how of what both of them bring to him. And you look at what Minter was able to do with the Chargers defenses and the rookies that he had there, especially even at, like, you could talk cornerback with Tareeb Still and Cam Hart, and they both took a step forward and played a large role in the Chargers defense and how it operated. And so I think Minter has a lot of success at getting the most out of players, and not only the older players, but also getting the most out of young players that are new to the league or rookies or just 2-3 years in, and that he's going to do that with Mike Green. And I expect Mike Green to take a step forward, at least on the pass rush side. It's still seen, maybe I think there'll still be some problems on the run defense side, and he'll be weaker on the run defense side, but that's where you bring in another edge to help solidify that. We'll have Tavius Robinson, who's better at run defense, and then whoever else they bring in, you could have Trey Hendrickson and Mike Green be your pass rushers, and then Tavius Robinson and whoever else be more the run defense edges, and that would make a good system of operating through. And I heard, interestingly, that there is a thought out there of Kyle Van Noy possibly returning to the team. Kyle Van Noy has come out and said that he would like to return to the team. He doesn't know whether or not he's going to play in the future, but if he is, he wants to return to the team. He still thinks that he can operate at a high level and bring a lot to the team, and he wants to stay on the Ravens. Now, if he was going to get re-signed, it would probably be within August or September. He said, like, look, I feel like you give me a playbook just a few days before the season begins, and I'll be out there and I can make a massive impact, which is pretty bold of him to say that. But when you look at veterans like him, they don't get signed until later. And so if the Ravens are waiting out, they could be holding out and waiting to sign him till later, and he'll probably miss a chunk of the offseason training. So it's a thing to look towards that he could. And I mean, he has shown at Baltimore that he can do a lot. You look at what he did in 2023 and 2024. I mean, 2023 as a pass rusher, he had 30 total tackles, 20 solo, 10 assists, 9 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. He was constantly getting back there after the quarterback. 2024, he had an amazing season with 41 tackles, 25 solos, 16 assists, 12.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery. And then he regressed this past year where he had 20 total tackles, 12 assists, 12 solo, 8 assists, and then 2 sacks. I mean, his PFF grade this past year, he was worse on the pass rush at a 51.8, but better on the run defense at a 72.5 for a 61.7 overall. And the other thing is he is 6'3", 250 pounds, but he's also 35 years old, is getting up there, getting older. And it could be something that the Ravens could look at. I like that he's better on the run defense, and he's shown that he can get after the quarterback and be an experienced pass rusher. And he's an experienced player and one of the few. He has won 2 Super Bowls with the Patriots and has Super Bowl experience and can be a voice on the team to help mentor, establish a sort of not only discipline, but a theme of how the team wants to operate moving forward. So it could be an option for the Ravens to look back at that, but I think I'd rather go with Clowney than I would with Kyle Van Noy. I think Clowney has also been on the team, could be a big voice there, and is a veteran that could help establish the discipline that mentor wants there, and could be a little more consistent without the need for as many pieces around him. I think Kyle Van Noy very much relies that there is a strong defense around him, and not saying that the Ravens can't establish that. Trey Hendrickson will be on the other side, but if there's not much in the interior that could hurt Van Noy a little more, and if Matabike isn't coming back, like, he needs strong strengths around him to help him perform better. And that showed this past year when there wasn't as many strong defenders on the front line, that Matabike was out and gone, and Mike Green on the other side not having the best year at run defense. And I mean, he was below average on the pass rush, but shows glimpses of what he can become, that Van Noy needs more than that. He needs consistent pieces around him for him to perform to the best of his ability. So if the Ravens are going to go that route, they need to make sure that they have depth in the pieces around that can perform and help him perform to his best as well. So that is what I have for the defensive side of the ball. Let's swap over to the offensive side of the ball now, and let's look. Lamar Jackson is all in the news again because of him returning to OTAs and the voluntary offseason workout that's going right now. Remember those multiple different phases. They're in the first phase of that right now. And so praise has been going his way for showing up, as well as some little, well, why haven't you shown up to these in the past? But again, it's him showing solidarity with the coaching staff and going forward and wanting to put his best foot forward with that. And I love hearing that he wants to put his best foot forward. And I think he really wants to show like, hey, we are a team. We're a competing team. It's hard to beat us. Let's go be the monsters that we know we can be. And then others are like, no, well, we have problems with this, as well as that they don't think the contract's going to get done and that it's just going to fall apart. And I don't believe this at all. I think the Ravens are acting in very good faith with him, showing him that, hey, we support you, we love you, let's get a long-term contract extension happening, because one of the major things that needs to happen this season, because it did not happen earlier before free agency opened up, is I really think they still need to be working hard at getting a contract extension going with Lamar Jackson. You cannot be paying him $84 million next year. That would ruin the team. You need him on a long-term contract that extends him out 3-4 other years, with the possibility of a void at the end, in my opinion, because he'll be getting up there and older in age, and you don't know with injuries. But they need to spread that money. And Harbaugh even said it, like, look, Jackson will get paid the highest amount out of any quarterback again, because he deserves to get that. And I fully believe he does as well. I think he deserves to be one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL, and he deserves to get lots of money. But what the Ravens need to do and be smart about it is spreading that out over years. And I expect the cap space to expand again next year with how TV contracts have been going for the NFL and the more money coming into it. I expect them to expand the cap space again. So if you give him that larger contract and the cap space expands again, then it helps in the long term, because you're getting ahead of that, and you'll still have more space to operate and work with, especially if the team gets younger as some of the older players go out, and you can bring in some younger ones who are on rookie contracts, especially with the amount that the Ravens can get and how well they have drafted in the past and how well they can operate in free agency and bring in the talent that is needed. I think that would be the better way going forward. I think the Ravens are showing that they want Lamar to stay if they give Zay his long-term contract, if they bring in more on the O-line, bring in a big body wide receiver, bring in a good tight end. They're showing good faith towards Lamar, giving him weapons, giving him lots of weapons, and saying, look, we are giving you all the weapons you ever could want on this team. Come and stay with us, stay long-term. We want you to retire here. I think he will do that. I think there's talks about in the first round going for Sadiq, who's the tight end out of Oregon, giving him that next big tight end that could go, giving him big body wide receivers, be that in third round or second or wherever they do that first, but giving him those weapons to operate, and I think giving him a solid O-line. They're going to have to draft a lot of that O-line, especially center and the guard they need long-term going forward, unless they're going for Ethan Pokic off the Browns, which will probably get signed in will get signed in after the June 1st deadline if he does come to the Ravens, because the Ravens don't want to give up one of their compensatory picks. But I want to see that contract happen with Lamar, and I think we're operating on good faith with him because of all of what I just said. That we're going to draft for him, we're going to give him weapons, we're going to keep his favorite players around, operating in good faith to keep him and show we are 100% behind you and with you, be 100% and behind us too. And I think that'll go forward. The Ravens have worked through this before. They know Lamar, Lamar knows them, and I think it'll be the way going forward. However, that brings us into a good topic. The draft is coming up here. It's in a few weeks. And I think the Ravens, especially in the first few rounds, are going to be operating very heavy in drafting into the offense. The defense, the edge class is very deep. And I think they can find pieces that they need. And I think even at tight end, they could go Tanner Koziel in the later round. I still really like him, but there's also Eli Stowers in the second round. There's Sadiq in the first round. So there's lots of players out there, but I think in the first early rounds, they lean more towards the offensive side of the ball, especially for the interior offensive line. I mean, a lot of people in the first round are projecting straight off now Big Iona and Fano, who would both play guard. I really like in the third round Logan Jones, and at center going Iowa, and the similarities that he's shown to Linderbaum in the past. And so I think those first at least 3 rounds are at least 2 of them are probably going to be offensive picks and leaning towards that side of the ball, because that's where most of the work needs to stay. The Ravens have a very talented roster and have a lot of talent still remaining on the team, even though a lot of players left and everyone wants to say, oh, there's an exodus. And there was an exodus, but a lot of talent still remains. The core talent, the important players still remain. You still have a core of the team to operate and move around. And so you build off that now. And where most of that building needs to happen, in my opinion, is still on the offensive side of the ball. I think the defense has a lot of talented players. It got addressed in free agency as well, and now the focus needs to shift towards the offense. So I know it was a little bit of a shorter episode today. We're coming to about 16 minutes right now, but that is all I have since we didn't have any comments today, which made me a little sad, but it's okay. I understand we are all very busy. And so I want to thank you all for stopping by and joining in. If you did enjoy the content that you were hearing, please consider subscribing, liking, and commenting, doing the same on Spotify, following, reviewing, leaving a review, and commenting. Again, your comments get the chance to be featured in one of these long form videos. We always go back in, we talk about them. And I want to talk Ravens. It's one of the ways to talk Ravens and to help expand the podcast. So please do that. I hope you all enjoyed the episode, and I can't wait to make the next one and talk with you all again. Have a great rest of your day and enjoy your Wednesday. I'll see you all tomorrow. Have a great day.